youths, it's the Mr. and Fly here, out on another bike, this time the Triumph Explorer. Now this is a bike, again, that I've been very interested to ride, because this is, let's face it, really it's Triumph's copy of the GS, and the GS being a bike that I'm very familiar with. So full disclosure, I'm a GS fan, I own a GS, and therefore, you know, I may be slightly biased on this review, but I'm also a Triumph fan, so I'm hoping that sort of counteracts my bias slightly, and hopefully I'll be kind of objective on this. So this is very much a first impressions type review. So stick around, stay tuned, and I'll tell you what I think about the Triumph Explorer. Now you can often get a pretty good feel for a bike within the first sort of 30 seconds of riding it, I think, and this bike is no exception. The first thing I noticed about this is that the riding position actually feels very familiar to me, very, very comfortable. Similar width handlebars to what I'm used to. The seat feels a little bit hard maybe, but generally quite comfortable, and I'm sitting fairly upright on the bike. That's all great. The bike has the same engine in it. It's the big 1217cc triple unit that the Triumph Trophy has, and I rode the Trophy fairly recently. One of the things that struck me about that was the noise that the engine made, and this sounds exactly the same. It actually sounds a bit like a car when you're driving it, which is very odd. Not necessarily a bad thing, just a bit strange. But I guess the thing that I noticed most about this bike when I first got on it, particularly when I got on it, is just the weight of it. It does feel very heavy when you jump on it and get it moving. Like all big bikes, once you get it moving, there's absolutely no feeling of weight at all. But yeah, she does feel a heavy old beast compared to what I'm used to. The engine, of course, is the triple, and Triumph know how to make their triples. It's turbine smooth. Feels nice when you wind her on. I've got the bike just set in normal road mode at the moment, and there are, depending on the bike which model of the Explorer you buy, there are up to 6 riding modes you can choose from. Sport obviously being the most sporty. This one does feel pretty not pedestrian, that's being unkind, but there's not a great deal of get up and go compared to what I'm used to when you wind the power on it, and I think that may be down to the weight of the bike again. I think these come in at something like, and I'll check the numbers, but I think it's something like 245 kilos dry, so that's quite a heavy old bike. Now, Triumph have done a lot of work on the Explorer this year. This is quite a different bike to the one that they launched with back in, I think it was 2013 when they first came out. And they've done a lot of modifications. They've given it the ride-by-wire throttle, which means that you can have engine modes, and as I say, there are up to 6 available on the bike. There's all sorts of electronic gizmos on here. You've got things like heated grips, of course, but you've also got a heated seat, which I really like the idea of. It's got cornering ABS, it's got traction control, basically you name it, it's got it. This particular machine is the XRT, which is the XR meaning it's the on-road version, and the T meaning it's kind of top of the range, got all the toys. So it's got everything thrown at it, as you'd expect on a demonstrator bike. Flickability wise, again, you can feel the weight of the bike. She's not as agile as I'm used to by a long chalk, but nonetheless very nice, very stable, lovely on a long ride I expect, but you certainly wouldn't describe it as flickable, I don't think. The engine is lovely though, it's turbine smooth, I do like that, I love triples. Right, let's find somewhere to stop. Having said she's not flickable, the handling is lovely actually. I mean, on a cruisy run it would be an absolute joy. Okay, maybe not a brilliant place to stop, but let's have a look at it. Of course I'm on a bike review, so it started raining, brilliant. So here she is, the big old Triumph Explorer. As I say, really it's sort of Triumph's attempt to get a slice of the GS action, so in a way it's sort of a blatant copy of the GS. It looks very similar superficially. I think they've done a good job though on the looks front. I think if anything it possibly looks better than the GS. I like the way that the lights are symmetrical, for example. I've always got a thing with BMW is the fact they have that squinty front. But I'm not sure it looks great in the white, but there you go. They do a red version which looks really nice, I think. But yeah, overall I think they've done a good job on the looks front. So just a bit about the numbers in terms of brake horsepower. This puts out 137 brake horsepower, so quite powerful old beast, and 91 foot-pounds of torque. As I say, it's a 1217cc triple, so quite a big old lump, so certainly no lack of power. As I mentioned, the bike has all sorts of gadgets and gizmos. Not only does it have cornering ABS, but it also has the hill hold feature, so you don't roll back if you're not on the brakes on a hill, which is rather nice. It's got Brembo brakes, it's got WP suspension, and it's the semi-active type, so a bit like you get in the GS and in the current Multistrada. So a bit of a magic carpet ride on the suspension front. And one of the other things that the bike has, that was a new feature again for this latest model of the Explorer, is an electrically adjustable screen. So that's quite nice. You don't have to faff about with knobs or anything. You can move it up and down electronically, which is good. And it's a massive screen on this as well. The weather protection is quite nice. Okay, enough chat before it gets too wet. Let's get back on the bike and see what we think. Oh, she's a heavy old girl. The clutch action on this is quite wild. It's got a hydraulic clutch on here. The biting point is very far out, which takes a bit of getting used to. I imagine that's just this particular machine. Easily adjustable. Why does it always rain when I do these bike rides? Outrageous. Now, I may have been a bit unkind when I said it didn't feel quite as sprightly as the GS, not in terms of handling, but in terms of speed. In that it seems you need to wind the bike up a bit more. So certainly once you're sort of over 40 miles an hour and you wind it on a bit, I'm going to have to slow down now, it feels quite quick. So yeah, I don't want to leave you the impression that the GS is faster. I think it's just the GS is possibly faster lower down. Okay, so that's enough about numbers and stuff. What about the practicalities of the machine? I've already said that the riding position feels nice and natural and comfortable, so that's great. There we go, come on girl. The brakes seem pretty good. Got Brembo brakes on it. Just do a quick test. Yeah, the brakes are as good as anything I've tried anywhere, as you'd expect, so that's great. Suspension, I've got this set in comfort mode, and it's has that active suspension and is really, really nice. Feels very good to me, the suspension. It's not jarring or anything. Some of these roads are pretty pothole and horrible, and it's just, you know, it's making very light work of them. So suspension wise, it's lovely. Weather protection wise, pretty good actually. Big old frontal area on the bike, so you know, I'm behind all the bodywork, so that's nice. And of course you've got the hand guards, and this has got quite a big screen on it with a flip up. I'm not sure if that's the standard screen or not on this. I suspect it probably is the standard screen, but it's doing quite a good job of keeping the breeze off me, although I'm getting a face full of this rain, which, you know, I kind of would have expected the wind to have blown that over me. But I'm not feeling buffeted at all, so wind protection pretty good, but maybe not weather protection, because as I say, I'm getting a bit wet. Hope you can see me okay, by the way. Let's give you a little clean. There we go. In terms of height, again, this is a standard height machine, but it has an adjustable height seat. I suspect this is on the lowest seat position at the moment, and it's absolutely fine. I'm not flat-footed on the bike, a little bit on tippy toes, but I don't feel completely unsafe at the stop, as long as I keep the bike completely upright. I'm not sure how I'd feel about taking a pillion on it. I think then, me being a fairly small fella, just the combined weight of the bike and a pillion might be a bit much to feel confident with. In terms of the dash layout and the switch gear is all very substantial feeling. That's nice, and quite logically laid out in this case. Not too much of a stretch to get to things, which is nice. And the dash display itself very clear. There's an awful lot of options you can go through here. Using the I button, you can scroll your way through them, and there's absolutely loads of stuff there. Selecting things is a bit of a faff. For example, if you want to make the screen go up and down, you have to actually go up to the screen at the top, which I'll find in a minute. I can't actually find it now. I can't see very well in the rain either, so I'll not do that. But basically you select it, and then you have to select with a button on the front, and then you can move the screen up and down. So it's not like just one button you can move. It's a little bit of a faff, but I guess it's better than reaching over trying to undo buttons that way. Either way, it's all a bit distracting, I suppose. But other than that, display's nice and clear. You can see what speed you're doing easily, which I guess is the main thing. So to summarise then, handling nice and stable, very stable bike, not particularly flickable, but she does feel planted on the roads, great for long motorway tours I would think. The engine is turbine smooth, sounds a bit like a car, but it's not a super noise or anything, it's not obtrusive, doesn't get in the way, so no real problem. I mean, it doesn't sound particularly fruity or anything, but that probably doesn't matter on a bike like this, but the point is it's really, really smooth, so that's nice. Weight, I've already said, very heavy bike, not a factor when you're moving, just a factor when you stop, so it probably depends on how big a person you are as to whether that's a big deal for you or not. Brakes are very good, wind protection very good, mirrors a bit stalky but work perfectly well, I can see very well behind me, and overall very easy bike to ride. It's pretty confidence inspiring, like it a lot. I think if you're in the market for a big adventure type bike, definitely well worth giving one of these a try. It doesn't have the integrated sat-nav like the BMW has, which is something I really like, but if you can live without that, I'm sure many people can, then this is definitely worth considering. I think it's a worthy competitor to the likes of the GS, and definitely should be one to try out. Okay, hope you've enjoyed that. Look forward to speaking to you next time. Until then, let's hope it's sunny. This has been the Missenden Flyer. Cheerio.